Welcome to Damn Serge podcast powered by SRG Plus, expert insights on content creation, AI innovation, and digital asset management. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Damn Serge podcast. Here's your host, Serge Creator. And it's a pleasure to welcome Paul Schmidt to the podcast today. Paul is the creative force behind Undertone by Perion. Thank you for joining us today. Could you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. It's nice to talk to you today, Serge. Yeah, I'm the creative director at Undertone by Perion. What we do is I lead an international creative team that designs and animates cross-channel, high-impact digital advertising campaigns for a very wide and eclectic client base.
All right. And this is so exciting. I have a lot of questions to ask you. We will dive deep into the hottest topic today, so about AI and content creation, okay? So from your perspective at Undertone, how is AI reshaping the creative process, especially in advertising?
I feel like there's a lot of answers to this. We've been exploring so many different avenues and so many different ways that it's working. So I know that with my design team, there's a handful of ways that it's freeing up and time-consuming jobs. Things like resizing images, editing images, things that used to take hours to do. You can use things like Adobe Firefly, and we can all of a sudden have all the safe area we need, which is fantastic. That's the kind of stuff that used to be a lot of time. When it comes to copy, we do not have a full-time copywriter on staff. We have freelancers, or we have ways that we put it together with our clients, but it does give us copy suggestions and editing capabilities. You can tell it to brainstorm with you. And so just the amount of work that can get done and the amount of time, it's changed everything. There's things for videos where we can help create storyboarding imagery that you couldn't do before. You had to Photoshop together or draw it. And then we're able to recognize patterns in our creative because, the AI it's using things that already exist. So if you start seeing the same things over and over again, you can be like, okay, I want to stay away from that. So it can help lead to additional creativity. It helps us break that mold a little bit. And then one other thing is the ability to create all kinds of voiceovers that was not possible before, so they can be dynamically created and have hundreds of them. So we're able to just create so much more because we have that tool in our toolbox.
Oh yeah, that's definitely like super powerful tool to use, and especially in this field. Many creatives need to be made aware of AI tools. What would you say to pressure them and encourage experimentation?
There's kind of an idea, I think, among some of the people that are afraid of it, that it's going to do more to take their job. And I think it actually is. Everything that I've explained, Undertone and advertising is able to use in the creative field is showing that it's a tool. It's not a solution. It's a way to get to what you want. You have to be the creative driver, the creative core to everything. And the AI can just help you get there faster, more efficiently, more effectively, help you broaden your horizons for what is possible. And it just gives you that much fuller potential. It doesn't read minds. It doesn't know nuance. It doesn't have some of the cleverness that you can put into it in order to have the vision. So you have to be there for the vision, and you have to be able to do things differently and more creatively than an AI could ever provide for you. It is a way that you can be better at your job without having to work nights and weekends to the exhaustion of yourself and your family.
Oh yeah, I agree on that. And can you share an example of how Undertone is using AI to enhance ad creatives or maybe even personalize them?
We've really jumped in full feet trying to understand AI and how it can be used. From just a machine learning side of the AI, not even the generative, we have targeting and optimization that goes into all of our work. It can optimize our ad campaigns, it can deliver the relative content to those target audiences, and it helps with real-time decision predictions for the different KPIs. And so we get greatly improved campaign performance. And that's just the dumb AI. Beyond that, we've got ways that we're enhancing personalization, training chatbots to answer true user questions in an ad space. So we can train it within this closed space. And then if someone's saying, hey, I'm super interested in visiting this location, what are some things to do? This is my interest. And then we have that chatbot that's right there, like a person, to give you that information. So it's so personalized to that user, so many different ways. And then the voiceovers, we're able to customize those per person, per location, per weather, day party, whatever it might be, voiceovering the items that are on sale right now. And you then get thousands of variations of voiceover that you could have never recorded and put out there in that way. Because you can use that voiceover, what we call Wave at Undertone by Perion, that Wave product that we have with the voiceover that's AI generated, short bursts, you can't even really tell that it's an AI, but it gets you what you're interested in. It gives you the things that are good for that particular user, and they're able to then convert that. That's super important for
Yeah.
conversion.
It's interesting how personalization will be impacted by AI. And now, as I can see the rise of the AI employees, it's this is kind of like whole another world right now, and it's
Oh
already
yeah.
happening. And I can see the vision that it will be like so huge. So instead of just talking to one team, you can talk to actual AI who will be like, no, everything about the brand. No, you can easily feed them with the information, and they will know everything about the brand and the project they're working on, right? So all the details,
Absolutely.
and yeah, it's like unimaginable. It's crazy cool. So I want to dive deep into it because our podcast is damn Serge. So that's mean we're talking about digital assets management, and in your area, in your industry, there is a lot of digital assets. Okay, so I would
Yeah.
like to dive deep into it a little bit. Could you please give us a glimpse into a typical creative workflow at Undertone? From concept to delivery?
We're a particular kind of creative team. So we are not, we're not an agency. So we're not coming up with all the larger brand concepts. What we're doing is creating these units can be within our system. So from that, we have creative requests that'll come in. We have project managers, we have our art directors, whoever is a vested interest, they'll meet with the client for a kickoff call. We'll get our information, get it all into Salesforce, which is our tracking client retention program, but it helps us track what is being sold and what's important for us to know. We determine the KPIs, the assets that are supplied, assets that are needed to be sourced, what kind of timing we're looking at, and all those things are then put into our documentation. And then our project managers will create the folders or multiple folders, depending on how many units we're looking at. And each one of those folders is based on a naming convention I've established in Pixel. When I start, my team is called Pixel at Undertone. My creative team is Pixel. So we create our folders based on the naming conventions I established. That'll include things like the IO number, the brand, the client, the unit, everything that would be very important for scanning through and finding it. We design it based on everything that I just explained. We create static mock-up storyboards because all of our things, I said they're high impact, they're animated, they're interactive, they're everything you can practically think of is possible within the digital ad space. We do that. So we put those static boards together, but it has to get the idea across. So there's lots of moving parts. There's lots of ways that people can understand how it's working and get the idea of it in a more of a realistic space without going through the animation and development that has to come later on. So from there, it goes into revisions with the clients, and the design files are collected, put together as we get client approvals. That moves it into development phase. It's a whole nother creative side of our group here because we have the animation and interactivity and see a lot of that as designers, but it has to be then even expanded upon by our developers. And they do an amazing job of making things really come to life. And then we get a working demo. It goes through revisions and approval phases for that. Goes through QA and everything through it till it can go live. So it's a bit of a process, but it surprisingly goes very quickly in just a few days, a few weeks, depending on what size of program we're looking at.
Awesome. And everything is happening in one system like Salesforce, or are you using different project management softwares?
We have Salesforce for tracking because our team works very closely with the sales team. We do a lot of conversation through the Salesforce chatter. We have a Google Drive that unfortunately, we don't have like a high level DAM system that's built up, that's an external partner that helps us through this. Looked into a few. I think that there's some amazing ways that it can work out there. And that's your expertise. Haven't established that yet. So right now I'm just building all the systems, working with my team to figure out how it'll work the best. And then we are always talking on Slack and Gmail and Zoom calls. Very connected team, even though we're across the entire world.
Oh, actually, this is the next question I have for you. So with a team spread across countries, how do you maintain creative consistency and ensure everyone's on brand?
It's been a learning experience. Undertone by Perion has been very helpful to us as we're figuring out how the collaboration can work as we figure this all out. Now we've been doing it for 4 years. And so one part is building in the systems along the way so that we can check things. We can make sure everything is going through. I've listed like the art directors, project managers, the QA, and the developers. Everyone's working very closely together, a lot of communication to make sure that we're following through. The email, the Zoom, the Slack that I also brought up. So depending on the situation, there's always some kind of conversation happening. Good team leadership is also extremely key. I have some very talented art directors that are constantly managing their teams and their work, We've got the project managers that are overseeing everything and making sure that creativity is coming to life for both the art directors and the clients. The hiring process is always very carefully done, and we're very intentional with the people that we hire to make sure that they're going to fit in a way that we're going to get the most work done and that we are like of the highest possible quality we can. And it's proving out with some amazing designs every day. And then the weekly team meetings, we got the whole team meeting, we got break off team meetings, we got weekly one-on-ones. Feels like a lot of meetings maybe, but since you're not all in the same place, you kind of got to set aside that time to review and talk things through. We've got quarterly insight reviews where we look at projects that have gone through testing so we can continue to learn and grow and build on what we've done before and make it even better as we produce more. It's a big, complicated machine, but it's so much fun. Yeah.
That's so cool. How many people in the company you guys manage?
Within Pixel, I should have had these numbers written down. The design team is 10 of us, 10 to 11. We're going to have another animator starting back up with us. We've got 2 or 3 animators, and then all the rest of us are designers. We've got 6 project managers, and I think we're
6 project managers. That's awesome.
We've got a lot of projects. And then the developer team, I think, is closer to 12 people, and they do the work of 24 people. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Wow, that's awesome, incredible. Like, that's great. It's a pretty big team. That's awesome. And thinking about your ideal DAM system, what are the must-have features that would truly empower your team?
So I've been thinking about this over the past year as I've started looking into more DAM systems. We have complex files. It's not completely uncommon in the advertising space, but as I described, there's a lot of interactivity and there's a lot of different things that are inside of all those different files. If there was any ability for AI scanning of these files, whether they're Photoshop files or video files, so that we can keep things clean and simple and searchable, so you can say, I need to look for this particular video that contains a puppy. I need to find some copy that talks about Christmas. I need to look for an image that contains this particular product. The ability for the DAM system to help us create that metadata, to create that index of everything that's out there that we've created and contain already, that would be huge, massive thing for us. We've got so many files and so many clients. It's, you search for one thing and you get thousands. So to be able to fine tune it, big deal, very big.
Lost files, missed deadlines, sounds familiar? You're not alone. Managing digital assets can feel like a full-time job. Meet SRG Plus, the digital asset management tool built by creatives for creatives. It is designed to eliminate the chaos, streamline your workflow, and help you focus on what really matters, creating. Whether it's sharing your files, using them on your phone, tablet, or desktop, or collaborating with your team, SRG Plus keeps everything in one place, organized and easy to access. No more headaches, no more wasted time. Just smooth, efficient, stress-free asset management. Stop letting your assets control you, take back control with SRG Plus. Try SRG Plus for free today, click below to get started. Wow, yeah, that's 100% a great feature. It would be helpful a lot. So when you can just talk to somebody, it's like similar, like when client texting, hey guys, where is this PDF file or PDF presentation? Could you please share with me? It's kind of like similar interactions, right? So
we have team members that just know things, but people are sick or on vacation, or you can't just rely on that. It's too much.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like we need to text to project manager, and project manager is on top of everything and he will find it. But if the client wants and other teammate, then they just need to rely on the other person. When we will have a tool like AI that just like give you the data, whatever you're requesting, right, based on your request, that would be super cool. I agree on that. Awesome. And have you encountered any roadblocks in your workflow that a DAM could potentially solve?
We're using Google Drive right now to share files. Overall works pretty well, but secure file sharing is kind of a situation. We can't just open up our files and create it to anyone with a link, because there's people out there that can take advantage of that kind of system. So we have to have special files and special processes to move files to certain places so we can share with clients or receive files from partners, whatever it might be. It just creates a lot more difficulty than I think is necessary. So any kind of easy, secure file sharing that makes it both internally and externally easier for us to work with our partners. And then tracking versioning and everything that comes with, you have something like a pharmaceutical company advertisement. They have a lot of legal issues and like legal roadblock or legal problems that we have to help work through with them and design. And it can be a lot of revisions and processes. So the version tracking of things, especially when it's coming down to the legal copy that has to go into it, it's crucial to make sure that we're not getting it messed up. There's all that time and money put into it. They can't come onto us for being wrong. Tracking
Yeah,
all
that
that's
makes
super important.
Let's talk a little bit about Undertone. So Undertone is known for its innovative ad format. What are some
Mhm.
of the creative challenges involved in developing those?
It's always a balance with what we do between keeping our client happy and keeping our publishing partners happy, because we're not just running these any which place. We're putting them on like high quality publisher sites where people that are interested and real are looking at them and interacting with them. So to be able to hit the KPIs that our clients are looking for within that certain space that we have on our publishers' websites, or publish whatever publisher we're particularly talking about, or digital out of home locations, we have to make sure that we're doing it to the best for both of their needs. We've explored a lot of next generation versions of what we already do create so that we can figure out how we can make them even more effective, more eye-catching, more interesting, have those interactions mean more. I think it's always super important to keep in mind that advertising is there to serve a purpose for both the person selling and the person buying. So whatever is possible to help those, it's another one of those splits, like our publisher and client. Our client and their end user. The end user can't know that they want something unless they know about it. You can't just magically realize it. So getting that into their mindset, getting that into their life to help them understand where this could help or benefit them is great. And so to make sure that it's cool, to make sure that it does what it needs to do and is not just fancy for fancy's sake, but there's actual KPI and a reason behind it all. Strategy. Don't just throw it at a wall and wait for something to stick. Let's be strategic. And then, as we're developing things, we also have to make sure that we're not overdoing the file weights. We can come up with all kinds of amazing ideas, but if it's going to break someone's computer or it's going to slow down their phone,
wow.
they don't want that. Our publishers will limit that in times, but we got to keep track of how much we're doing and how much time we're doing it in. It's a business. We got to be smart about all of this.
Interesting. That's cool. And can you share any insights into how Undertone approaches client collaboration in the creative process?
So our creative team is set up to help our clients wherever they need us. So we're there to collaborate, even if they just need us to help understand how our units work. We will have a meeting and we'll explain it, give them the specs, give them everything they need. We'll end up developing it because we have a proprietary developer software, but they can design it if they need to. We can also just help brainstorm with them to come up with the ideas. We're there to be as collaborative as possible. We are a value add to our clients. So we're not just trying to get as much work out of them as possible. We're there to make sure that they can get as much work done as they need. So I think coming at it in a way where we're looking with all honesty to help them, and we are creative people that loves making creative, it makes it so that there's a lot easier relationship that can be built that doesn't get complicated by upselling or any kind of issues that might come with our creative vision, because we've got an ego to build on. Then we can also just take pride in our white glove service. We can be there for them, active listening, whatever's necessary. It just, because what I didn't bring up there is we can also do everything. We can design the entire thing, come up with the entire concept, help create entire looks and feels for a company that doesn't have much of that. So the ability to just meet people where they have the need it really opens a lot of avenues and makes clients happy to work with us. And it's satisfying on the side too.
That's great. Yeah, it's a creative process that's coming as well, just to have fun also. What I see a lot of people making creative process just like to have fun and like it's a joy, like creating something that never existed, and it brings them like a lot of positive energy as well. So that's
Yeah.
great. So, and how are you training your team to have everyone on the same page? Do you have centralized tutorials and educational materials?
Sure. So we do have internal training practices and documents, conversations. The art directors that are on my team have been with the company for 8 to 10 years. They know this stuff in and
Mm,
out, and they've done a lot along with my supervisor to put together documentation of how certain things work. We work very closely with product marketing too, and they got all the specs, and we've got all these ways that we can explain it. You just have to learn it, digest it, and work with it. But then all those checks and balances that I spoke about, that's part of it too. So there's the self-learning through our documentation. There's the collaborative learning of taking on like test projects and figuring out how to do different things with other team members and know it. And then there's just doing the job, working through it. We also have things like company tuition reimbursement. I've got some members of my team that are constantly looking to learn the next thing, to be excited about understanding the world and what they can do and ways that it can affect their job. Learning how to be better at marketing, advertising, design, Photoshop deep dive classes, things like that, that makes them just that much better at their job and makes their job more fun for them. I love that about Undertone. I don't think that's completely uncommon with a lot of companies, but I like seeing my team actually taking advantage of it. It's there. It's a benefit. It's something you should use. I think it's amazing.
yeah, education is the key. Great. So I think we covered a lot of questions. So Paul, it was like really exciting conversation. Where can people find you?
I'm not big on the social medias. I do follow, I am on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/Paul M. Schmidt. I work at Undertone by Perion. You can go to our LinkedIn page as well. Perion is our parent company. And you can email me at pschmidt@undertone.com. And I'm happy to talk about design, advertising, digital marketing, anything that's in my wheelhouse. I'm there for. And I appreciate
That's
you taking the
awesome.
time to talk to me, Serge.
Of course, Paul. Thank you so much. It was a great conversation.
Yes, I agree. Have a good holidays.
Thank you for listening to the Damn Surge podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and follow us on social media. It's powered by SRG Plus, the ultimate digital asset management app. Visit srgplus.com to learn more.